Good day to all the monster toy collectors out there. In this video, I'm going to look at some MPC Pop Top Horrors. MPC is Multiple Products Corporation, also known as Multiple Toy Makers. And they basically, as far as toys go, they usually copied Marx and made like smaller, skinnier versions of Marx toys from the 60s. But when it came to monster toys, MPC really excelled. These Pop Tops are really popular with collectors, and they're pretty expensive these days. Here I've got the complete set, and we will go over them one by one. Here is the witch. The sculpts on these are really great. Really great. Look at that bat. And of course the heads come off and you can change them. I don't do that anymore because this plastic is really old. These came out in 1964. There are 8 in the set. And on the bottom of the base, it just has the little MPC logo there. If I can persuade my camera to focus on it. Anyway, it just says MPC in that circle. There we go. And you can see there the mark where the staple went through the base. They stapled these things to these 2-packs. And as far as I know, the 2-packs are the most common way that they were sold. I know they also were sold in a big 8-pack on a blister card. And that is spectacular. I had one of those as a kid, and I still remember that. Of course, you know, being a kid, you rip right through that pretty packaging and throw it away and get to the toys on the inside. But those 8-packs are pretty scarce these days, a lot more scarce than the 2-packs even, and they command quite a price. This is the executioner. You can see his head is not pushed all the way in. I don't try to stress this plastic. It's very old, and it's just got the MPC on the bottom there. There you go. You know, but the sculpts are awesome on these things. Absolutely awesome. And these Pop Tops are about 5 inches tall. Here's the Creature of Doom, looking very much like a Grim Reaper. But according to MPC packaging, that is the Creature of Doom with its big scythe there. And of course it just says MPC on the bottom. Great sculpt. That's a favorite of many for the MPCs. Here's the Mummy. It's the Mummy. Da, 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 da. And these original MPC Pop Tops just came in 3 colors, orange, purple, and yellow. And we're going to look at one of the package 2-packs here of 2 of the ones I've already showed you. There is for the Witch and the Executioner, and you can see they're marked there on the header card. 29 cents is what you paid for a 2-pack of these back in 1964 when they first came out. And I had many of them as a kid. And we will, well, you can kind of make that out there. That's Multiple Products Incorporated, and it gives the address, Bronx 62, New York. And then he's kind of obscuring that. We'll look at another 2-pack where, see those staples through that witch's base? That's the way they held them fast on the in the 2-packs on that cardboard base. And here is the 2-pack for the Creature of Doom and the Mummy. And look at those graphics. I mean, that just screams 60s monster kid. Unbreakable horrors with interchangeable heads. And I'm going to get to that unbreakable part in a second here, but there it gives the same information on the bottom. 1964, multiple products incorporated. And you know, it's even got some cool little drawings on the back of the background card there. A coffin and some wisps of mist or smoke or whatever. And we'll look at the werewolf, the emaciated, very skinny werewolf who's known as the Wolfman on the MPC packaging. There again, just has the MPC logo on the bottom of the base. But you know, it's still sculpted really cool. Kind of like a werewolf from The Howling. Of course, these came out, you know, quite a few years before The Howling, but it just that classic werewolf design with the big ears, you know, as opposed to the classic Wolfman design from Universal. Here's just called the Monster. This is obviously their stab at a Frankenstein monster. And still, you know, I mean, the sculpting is, it's comical and creepy at the same time. It's really cool stuff. There we go. It accidentally focused after a while. And he's kind of humpback, you know, they had to throw the humpback thing in there. It's a nod to Igor, I guess. And here's the 2-pack for those guys. The Wolfman, as opposed to werewolf. And, well, Monster. A little bit obscured by that staple, but you can make it out after the camera finally focused. And you notice on this 2-pack, the price, the corner has been torn off of the price. I don't know what the deal is with that, just incidental damage or what. And there's the same information on the bottom there. See what that says in the back. Come on. No reason why this thing shouldn't focus on that. Anyway, I'll just tell you, it says made and printed in USA. 1964, multiple products incorporated. Some cool artwork on the background card for that one. Little graveyard scene there. And you know, they went the extra mile, and even the 2-pack cards are a little different with the coloring and all, and the illustrations. And here are the last two. Here's the vampire. Looks a lot like Phantom of the Opera, actually. Nice sculpt. There we go, little MPC in the circle there. Show the back. And the heads come out of all of these. I mean, you can, you know, change the heads around, and that was like the gimmick for it. That's why they call them Pop Top Horrors. And there's the skeleton. Cool bat. Yeah, they were big on bats. The witch had a bat on her shoulder, and the skeleton was holding one up. Which bats are always great horror icons anyway, so very Halloweeny, you know. And here then is the 2-pack. And yet a different color header card. Create your own monsters. Pop Top Unbreakable Horrors. And I said I was going to expound on that unbreakable part, and I will. I just wanted to show you guys these first. There we go. And you notice that in the package, the heads are attached by sprues to the leg, and there's no head for this vampire. And you know, that was fairly common with cheap toys back in the 60s. The quality control, especially at a company like MPC, just wasn't that great, and occasionally something just got overlooked, you know, in the assembly line or whatever. And so anyway, about the unbreakable thing, they're not. I got lucky on these, and none of these turned out to be brittle. But I have seen listings on eBay where 2-packs were literally breaking apart in sealed packaging, like where the base was stapled to the bottom of it, you know. And anyway, here is an extra monster body and an extra monster head in a different color that I paired up for the heck of it. And I don't know if, I guess it was the different plastic mixes or whatever, but with some of these things over the years, the plastic just became brittle, and they just fall apart. If you drop them on a carpeted floor off of a shelf, sometimes they just shatter. But like I said, I've gotten real lucky on these. There's a combo for you, the Wolfman head on the witch body, but I just had those extras, so just paired them up. But anyway, I've gotten real lucky with these. I have never had a Pop Top break, and I've owned so many, as you know, and these are what I've ended up with. As a kid, I bought a bunch of this stuff. I loved it, you know. And here then are some things that were inspired, influenced, ripped off of the MPC Pop Tops. Here is a cake topper by a company called Wilton. And it's a dead ringer for the MPC Witch, and it's painted, which is pretty cool. But there you can see, I mean, it's just exactly the MPC Witch, only the head doesn't come off or whatever. But it's a cake topper. And what came with that cake topper is this little cauldron that you can make a little scene with, you know, on a birthday cake or whatever. And then there was a smaller one of those. This one is like, I don't know, I think around 4 inches tall. And it's painted as well. And I'm kind of an MPC Pop Top nut, so I went ahead and grabbed these off of eBay when they were cheap. And they're not very much. You can get those cake toppers pretty cheap. Now, here's another item. These are Monster Head rings by a company called Henal Novelties and Premium Company, Brooklyn, New York. And as you can see there are 6 of them in the set. They were a nickel in a gumball machine back in the 60s. And that little guy right there is the one that does not match any of the Pop Tops. The rest of them are straight Pop Top heads. And I don't know if this Henal company hired MPC to make heads for them and put these little charm loops on them or what, but I mean, they're rings too. I've got the whole set in these brightly colored, like neon colors or whatever. And they don't show the detail as well in that, but I like the bright colors. I think they look cool. That was the mummy. Here's the Wolfman head. I'm going to call him Wolfman because MPC calls him Wolfman, even though technically he looks more like a classic werewolf than a Wolfman. But, you know, this is just part of the 60s monster kid scene, man. And here is the Creature of Doom head. As you can see, these brightly colored heads, the plastic does not convey detail nearly as well as the flat matte plastic that the original Pop Tops were made from. But they're still cool. I like them a lot. And these things you don't hardly, I mean, I'll discuss the market on this stuff and the scarcity and what you might be expected to pay for this stuff at the end of this. And that was the monster, and here's the vampire. And here's this little weird looking guy. I don't know what he's supposed to be, but he don't match a Pop Top. I don't really know where they got that, if they just made him up themselves, whoever. I don't know if MPC manufactured these for Henal, or Henal hired someone else, or they had their own ability to manufacture plastic toys. I don't know. And anyway, I've got one of the rings in the flat matte colored plastic. It really shows the detail well. This is the vampire head in the gray. Look at that. I mean, you can see how well. These are sculpted as well as the original Pop Top heads, so very nice. And that pretty much covers the original Pop Tops and, you know, the knockoff and inspired stuff and all that I know of. But anyway, to get to the market on this stuff, the loose original Pop Tops would probably, you know, be around 75. I mean, as high as everything is these days, after the last couple of years, they might be closer to 100 now if they were in nice condition. And you see a lot of knockoffs. They've got the molds down in Mexico, and they're cranking this stuff out periodically. And you don't see nearly as many Pop Tops as you do Nutty Mads and Mark's Monsters from Mexico, but you do see them, and they're pretty expensive. Usually they want, you know, 20 or 30 bucks a piece for the knockoffs. If it was me, I'd just get the originals. You know, you'd have to pony up more money for them, but at least you really have something there. The 2-packs, they're a different animal. Those things hardly ever come up. And if you can find them, prices are through the roof. I mean, a big ballpark estimate, if the package is in decent condition and the figures are not brittle on the inside, maybe $500 to $1,000 a pack. That 8-pack, if you could find that in decent condition, you're looking at a ridiculous amount of money. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that sold for $2,000, maybe more these days. I don't know. Collectibles are so expensive now. I bought these 4 from a guy at the Monster Bash. These 4, the package 2-packs from a guy at the Monster Bash in 2001. And I got there, I checked him out really early in the show, before, you know, the show really even got underway. And I grabbed them all for $175 back then. And I was elated to get them, period. But I mean, I had no idea that later that they would be so expensive. I couldn't afford them now. So I'm glad I got them then. But anyway, he had them for 50 bucks a piece. And this one that has the little bit of damage there on the top at the price, I think he had like 30 bucks on that or something like that. Now technically, with really scarce old toys in the packaging, that amount of damage would not take the value down to half by any means. It's not like with comic books, where that might put a comic book in good condition and really cut the value way down. But in older toys that are really scarce like this, it would probably just reduce the value by, I don't know, maybe 25 or 30% really. But anyway, he gave me all 4 of them for 150 bucks because I took all 4 of them. You know, it's kind of like a package deal discount or whatever. And the rings, you can still, by the way, this is really thick cardboard on this Henal display card. You can still find these display cards for around $50, I think. You probably have to pay at least 50 bucks for one in decent condition. The rings, you don't hardly ever see them, you know, and when you do grab them, I mean, I got really lucky. I bought these for $8 a piece from a guy several years ago on eBay, and I couldn't believe it. He put them in auctions and nobody else bid on them. I got them for minimum bid, $8 a piece, because this stuff is so obscure and so old that not many people even know about it to have it on a safe search. And the people that would really bid high on the stuff oftentimes don't even see it. So I got really lucky that he did not have it on Buy It Now. You know, he just put it on on an auction with minimum bid, and I got it for the minimum bid. So I got extremely lucky on that. The rings, I think fair market value for those rings now might be in the neighborhood of, I don't know, just a ballpark figure, $60 to $75 a piece, maybe up to $100 a piece. Could be way off on that, I don't know, but I just know that something super scarce like that, like when you've had saved searches for it on eBay for years and years and years and you never see it, then it's scarce. Like the Haunted Hulk, that monster pirate ship by MPC. Haunted Hulk is legitimately scarce and may even be considered rare at this point. But anyway, you get the idea. This stuff is hard to find. It has a very limited amount of collectors after it. There might be more once, you know, more of the word gets out about it, because a lot of people are into this vintage, really cool stuff like this. And, you know, just supply and demand. I mean, if I were going to sell this stuff, I'd put a real high buy it now on it with a make best offer and be patient. If you put something like this up for an eBay auction with a low minimum bid, you very well might just sell it for the low minimum bid, thinking you're going to get a bunch of people after it, but not many people really are on there. Of the few people that would really pay a lot for this stuff, they might not even see that auction for whatever reason. So anyway, that is a discussion of the MPC Multiple Toy Makers Pop Top Horrors figures. Hope you enjoyed it, and maybe you can make use of some of the information. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm going to be covering the MPC Weird Monsters and the Haunted Hulk and some other MPC offshoot monster toys later on. So stay tuned, as they say.